See, it comes back to my point. Poor people accept the religion very quickly and they go to God quicker than rich people. Is it true, sir, or I don't know?
Well, the point is, most of the prophets were chosen from among the poor. Lest anybody like Freud, anybody like Karl Marx, or so-called philosophers of the world, should blame them to be the representatives of the bourgeois. So, if you look at the life histories of the prophets, you come upon a very different picture. Most of the prophets hailed from the poor society, and while they were prophets, they did not amass wealth. In fact, they did exactly the opposite. So all the allegations by communist philosophy or other philosophers of the West that the prophets are agents of the bourgeois or the class are belied by this fact of history. So to that extent, this serves the purpose. Yes, please.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well,
So Zul, Father, you mentioned about this technique of studying to do away with exams and to...
Last night.
Was it last night?
Yes.
Oh. Anyway, I'm just wondering, is this philosophy being employed in Rabba Qadian at all? Of doing away with exams and increasing the load of books?
This is what I suggested, but they were rather timid. The people concerned with this institution, including Vakil Ala Chaudhry Hamidullah Sahab, were rather timid about it. They thought perhaps it may backfire, may not work, may just flop. So they have not accepted this idea of doing away with the examinations. I told them this can happen, this would work. I know positively this could work. But the older system has so ridden their minds and their whole educational background that it's impossible for them to break the bondage. The fact is that if you suggest 100 or so books for each year of Jamia, that would keep the boys very busy. They don't have to give any examination, they have to understand the books if they have to, by writing down the points of difficult points and going to their patrons or their tutors or teachers for explanation. To that much, a teacher is a must, no doubt. And when they have read and finished the book, they could go and have the list ticked. That in that book has been read by such and such person. So they could much widen their field of study, and because they would not be under any pressure and fear, they would learn much more and absorb the essence of the book much more. And within a matter of 3 or 4 years, you could have great scholars. But this method cannot be applied to every branch. For instance, learning of languages. In the broad sense it can be applied. You can't learn a language truly unless you have read very widely its literature pertaining to every branch of knowledge. Only then you can truly become a master of a language. But otherwise, to learn a language, this process would be far too slow. So for this, a different method has to be adopted. And also, for learning grammar, for instance, of a language, a different method has to be adopted. So one must not go too far in generalizations. I quoted it just as a general example. It could be useful in some fields, if restrictedly used, could not be useful or applicable in some others. So if you free your mind from the old bondages and slavery of the past inheritances, then perhaps you could conceive of a much better and practicable and useful system than at present prevalent in the world. Personally, I go for that. All that I have learned is not from the colleges or the schools. By just loose study, everything which came my way, I started studying and enjoyed it. So that is my way of learning things. It may not be applicable to everyone. Any other question, or shall we call it a day? Yes, please. Nasiruddin? Salim, you have had your day, haven't you?
Yes, sir. So you asked
For tonight.
Yes, sir.
I asked others, of course.
Hazrat Masih Maud says, if somebody abuse you, call you name, you must not call him names because he has called you so. I said I can explain it better in Urdu if I may.
Huh?
I can explain it better in Urdu if I may with your permission.
Okay.
Hazrat
But you can speak good English, why not in English? Because it is for the benefit of the English-speaking people that we are holding these sessions in English. Because these cassettes are distributed to the world everywhere, they even go to Japan. So those people who do not understand Urdu, it is particularly for their benefit. So it would be much better if a person could speak in English or even make do in English. You should stick to the English. If you find yourself in difficulty at some place, you can switch over to Urdu for that while.
Well, in translating Hazur's Tahrir in English is somewhat difficult for me.
I understand. So try first, tell us the gist in Urdu and then try to translate it.
हजूर फरमाते हैं कि लोग तुम्हें गालियाँ देते हैं, बुरा भला कहते हैं, और अगर तुम भी उनको बदले में गालियाँ दो और बुरा भला कहते हो, तो फिर तुम्हारे और उनमें क्या फर्क है? Then he goes on and says that मुझे अल्लाह ताला ने बताया है कि जो मुझे नहीं मानता वो मुसलमान नहीं है. Now what is the difference between them and us?
I understand. I don't follow this point. First of all, I instructed many a time before that whenever you quote from Hazrat Masih Maud Islam's books and you want to ask a question based on what he has written, it would be much better if you bring the book or at least have in writing the excerpt from that book. Because it's very important what wording has been used by Hazrat Masih Maud Islam. It makes a very important fundamental difference. His words are selective and they themselves explain themselves. So when you bring this writing of Hazrat Masih Maud Islam in his own words, then I'll be able to explain it.
Inshallah.